Hello everyone, welcome to the RBI Circular May 2025 video. We'll be covering all the circulars related to May 2025 in this particular video. Let's get the discussion started. If you are preparing for your RBI Grade B 2025 exam, you can start your journey with us. You can also download our application to download all the PDF sessions related to all the YouTube sessions. You can also start practicing the previous year questions as well. Plus, on every Wednesday, I bring previous year questions related to your examination every Wednesday 8 p.m. So do join that session as well. And if you have any kind of query, then definitely you can let me know in the comment section, or you can drop me your query on the Telegram as well. Okay, so let's start. The first thing that we'll be discussing here, released on 7th May, is policy statement framework for formulation of regulation. So RBI has released a framework for formulation of regulations and all. So whatever regulations RBI will be formulating now, there is a particular framework that RBI itself will follow, right? Just have a quick look at the background and purpose. So the Reserve Bank of India has issued this framework to standardize the process of creating or amending any kind of regulation. So any regulation is being created or amended by RBI, this particular framework is being created to standardize the process of it, right? So any process is created just for standardization purpose, so that it is in a transparent manner and a consultative and a structured approach. Plus, it ensures that stakeholders' involvement and impact analysis is done before finalizing any kind of regulation. Who are stakeholders? All are the stakeholders: regulated entity, fintech companies, right? All those who are affected by the circulars of the RBI are their stakeholders, so that involvement of stakeholders can also being considered, right? Why? Because it should not look like that it's a kind of dictatorship approach, rather than it's a constructive approach, right? RBI is a regulator, so definitely stakeholder involvement is also important here. That's why RBI has brought this particular circular. So this is applicable to all the regulations, guidelines, notifications, orders, standards and specification to increase the transparency, right, with public and stakeholders input as well. So we can also contribute in this draft circular, right? So what do you mean by regulation? Regulation here will be including all the directions, guidelines, notifications, orders, policy, specification and so on, right? It will be covering these acts, and definitely it's flexible enough to cover the other legal instruments as well if required. Okay, public consultation process. So there is a public consultation process also involved in this. Before finalizing any kind of regulation, first you need to publish the draft regulation on the RBI website along with the statement of particulars. So you need to publish that thing on the RBI website with the statement of particulars as well, right? So timeline for public comments, you will be getting at least 21 days to respond to that draft circular, and if you do have any query or suggestion, you can definitely do it. There will be at least 21-day time period provided to you from now onwards, right? So acknowledge and respond publicly to all the stakeholders feedback. RBI's obligation, it's RBI obligation to acknowledge and respond publicly to stakeholders feedback as well. If the final version, let's suppose we have created a draft version, right? Then we published it on the website. So people have also given their feedback, right? And now RBI has made some changes in the final version. So before releasing the final version, you can repeat the consultation process as well if you have done significant changes. If it's significantly different from the draft, then definitely you can repeat this consultative process, so that again on those changes public can again comment it, again they can reevaluate the things from their own end, right? Okay, impact analysis. What do you mean by impact? Look, every circular, every regulation of RBI definitely has some impact on the concerned parties, right? So here we can see in the impact assessment that whether the cost will exceed the benefit. If the cost is exceeding the benefit, it's not of any use, right? So the cost should be controlled. High benefits can be gained from the cost, right? And unintended consequences. So Doing the impact analysis means analyzing each and every impact this particular circular can have on all of us, right? Amendment to the existing regulation, if any existing regulation also needs to be amended, then they will definitely follow the public consultation and impact analysis process. That means they need to give us at least 21 days, right? Okay, non-applicability clause, this particular rules won't be applicable on certain kind of regulations. Let's suppose it's an internal rule, it's an administrative thing related to RBI, it's an organizational rule specifically related to RBI, not in public domain, right? So why to consult with people in that case? Procedural updates that do not materially change the regulation, so procedural updates will also not form part of this particular regulation. They can change it without giving the 21 day wala time period, right? Regulation specific to few entities, that's all, that's also excluded. If a particular entity is only concerned, why to take the public consultation in that case, right? Exceptional cases where RBI can skip or modify the process. If high level of confidentiality is required, how can you publish in the public domain, right? Public interest demands urgency, then you can definitely skip it. That's an urgent matter. Why to take consultation? Do it first, right? Objective would be defeated if the usual process is being followed or emergency intervention. In all these cases, this 21 day consultation period is not at all applicable, okay? Existing regulations will remain valid, right? Even if they are not framed under this particular framework, still they obviously remain valid, right? However, if you are making any kind of changes to the existing regulation, definitely you need to follow the stated guidelines as well. And these are some of the key sections empowering RBI in different acts, okay? अगर मैं होता तो मैं पेमेंट एंड सेटलमेंट हो गया, क्रेडिट इंफॉर्मेशन कंपनीज है, सरफेजी है, फेमा है, राइट? मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग है, इनके याद कर लेता कुछ मेजर rules and sections, right? Summary pointers, I have given summary pointers after every circular so that you can quickly gain a bird eye view of entire circular. After completing this video, you can download this PDF and do read the summary pointers just before your examination to complete it at a glance, okay? So they are not at all a substitute of this circular कि आप सिर्फ summary pointers ही पढ़ लो. No, you need to read the entire PDF of this particular session. You need to watch the video, and at the end of the day जब आपका conclude हो जाए सारा course, right, तब आप summary pointer से भी revision कर सकते हो, okay? Next is relaxation of FPI, investing in corporate debt security, only specific to general route, okay? So I think few months back we have discussed about the FPI limits in the corporate debt securities. We have studied about multiple routes like general route, okay, like freely accessible route and so on. So the background here is FPIs are allowed to invest in Indian corporate debt securities through the general route. However, there were some restrictions, like there were short-term investment limit restriction. It was capped. Okay, what do you mean by short-term holding? Less than 1 year maturity is obviously a short-term holding. There was a concentration limit as well. However, now these limits have been relaxed, okay? So earlier a portion of investments had to be kept in a long-term debt only. Now I can keep it irrespective of this limit. So now no such cap is there. The cap has been removed, obviously just to promote FPI investment in India, right? Concentration of withdrawal limit. Earlier there was a concentration limit as well. Now it has been completely relaxed, okay? So implications, definitely it will give a greater flexibility, right, and ease of access to India's debt market, and also it will encourage the high FPI inflows in our market, right? I have also given few terms and the explanation of those terms that are stated in this circular. You can read it afterwards, okay? And do let me know if you are facing any kind of difficulty. I have covered this particular circular few months back also, and now this is just an amendment की ये limits जो हैं relax हो चुकी है, and here are the summary pointers as well related to this particular circular. Next, RBI Digital Lending Direction 2025. We have already covered these directions in much detail with MCQs as well, right, in a particular video. You can also watch that particular video if you want to have a look at these guidelines in detailed manner, okay? These are the RBI Digital Lending Directions 2025. What is the background? Look, in digital lending there are certain mis-selling practices, right? Unfair recovery, data misuse, third party over involvement in things like that, stuff like that, which are not at all favorable, right, for the digital lending ecosystem as a whole. Okay, so there were some malpractices that need to be curbed. So here we have formed a working group on digital lending. It was earlier set up to review all the things, all the challenges that were being faced by people. So these directions consolidate all the related previous circulars, all the related things related to digital lending practices. Okay, so this is a consolidation. Okay, especially around multiple lenders via one platform, creation of digital directory of digital lending apps, DLAs. Okay, so here we can see that this is applicable on all the commercial banks, all the primary and state cooperative and central cooperative as well, and NBFCs, including HFCs and all India financial institution. We all know that there are 5 AIFI in India as of now, right? So here are some of the definition, like annual percentage rate. What do you mean by annual percentage rate? Let's suppose you have taken a loan. The interest rate is 10% per annum. Okay. However, there are some additional processing charges as well of 10,000, let's suppose. So even if your rate of interest is just 10% here, I can say that these processing charges are also an expense, right? Some way or the other, they are increasing your effective interest, right? Effective interest expense rate. So that's what annual percentage rate is all about. If we consider these processing charges and other charges as well in our interest rate, we will get a annual percentage rate. इसका मतलब effectively खर्चा इतना आ रहा है, right? Effectively खर्चा इतना आ रहा है. Then we do have a default loss guarantee as well. What do you mean by default loss guarantee? Let's suppose it's a contractual agreement where RE and another entity, let's suppose an entity is bringing the customers to RE. Okay, it's bringing the customers to RE. Now the entity is giving RE a guarantee, a default loss guarantee, ki if these customers won't pay you, or in case if you face any kind of credit risk in the future, I will compensate you definitely. So that's a kind of guarantee. That's a default loss guarantee, right? And I hope you know a particular finance related current affair as well related to this default loss guarantee. We have covered it recently in the finance current affairs classes. I will cover it in this particular class as well. Okay. Then we do have digital lending. It's nothing but remotely automating the process of lending, right? We are digitally lending the money via application here, right? And how do we digital lend? Through digital lending applications and lending service provider. Okay. So let me just quickly take an example. So there is a lending service provider who brings customers for the RE, regulated entity. So RE is nothing but banks and financial institutions, right? LSP is nothing but a fintech company or an entity like Paytm, for example, Paytm, right? That's a lending service provider, say for example, of HDFC Bank, right? So he's bringing the customers. I can say that this LSP is bringing customers for RE, right? Obviously it will be having a digital lending app as well. Okay, digital lending app as well, which we can call it as DLA. So Paytm is having an application of its own, right? Paytm is having an application of its own. So that's nothing but DLA. So this DLA is bringing the data to LSP. LSP is nothing but a lending service provider. It is a service provider. The actual lending is being done by the regulated entity only. It's just acting as a agent here. It's just acting as a lender service provider, right? It's just facilitating the transaction, getting the customers connected to a right regulated entity. Okay, so lending service provider is nothing but a helper or an agent that assists the RE. It is not at all a bank in itself, but it's more of a service provider, right? It's bringing customers to the RE. Okay, so usually it do tasks like getting the customers, doing the credit checks, helping with the recovery as well. Okay, I have given some examples as well. Digital lending app, obviously your LSP will be using some application. That's nothing but the digital lending app in itself, right? So I have given a beautiful example as well. Let's suppose a regulated entity is a restaurant. Okay, it's a restaurant. Now LSP is Zomato or Swiggy. So what LSP is doing here, they are bringing customers via a digital lending application, that is your Zomato application. The same way it is applicable to banking side as well, right? So what are some of the general requirements? Definitely due diligence of LSP. Regulated entities need to do due diligence of the LSP as well. So a contractual clarity on the roles and responsibility, like who will be doing what things, right? So complete clarity should be there. RE will be fully responsible for all the LSP action. LSP is just acting as an agent here. The real responsibility will lie with the RE only. Okay, so do remember this thing as well. If LSP works with multiple RE, let's suppose Paytm is working with HDFC Bank, is working with Axis Bank, is working with the ICICI Bank, right? Then it must show all the matched offer objectively to the borrower. Let's suppose I go to the Paytm application. So it's not like that Paytm should promote a particular bank only. It should be unbiased in nature. सारे ही criteria दिखाने चाहिए HDFC, ICICI and Axis Bank को भी, right? It must avoid the dark patterns. What do you mean by dark patterns? Let's suppose I'm buying an insurance, for example. Okay, so while buying the insurance, the platform is just checking on directly all the riders. Let's suppose I just want to buy an insurance. However, the platform on which I am taking the insurance, वो by default ही check on कर दे रहा है सारे riders को, right? बहुत सारे covers होते हैं, riders होते हैं, add-on charges होते हैं, वो by default ही उन चीज़ों को cover कर लेता है, right? So ऐसी चीज़ें नहीं होनी चाहिए, right? मैं खुद उसको tick on करूँ तो समझ में आता है, check on करूँ तो समझ में आता है. These are dark patterns, okay? So whatever we discussed is mentioned in the circular here itself. I have pasted the screenshots as well related to circulars, right? Conduct and customer protection, credit worthiness and check should be there before approving the loan lending. A credit worthiness check is essential here, right? That's what mentioned in the chapter 3 here. So disclosure mandates, there are some disclosure mandates as well, like key fact statement, loan documents, policy statement. A website must clearly state all the DLAs, all the LSPs. Let's suppose HDFC Bank is associated with 10 LSPs. So they need to clearly state it, the name of the LSPs and the DLAs, right? That's what fair practice is all about, right? Next is assessing the borrower's credit worthiness. So RE here shall obtain all the necessary information related to economic profile of the borrower. So जो भी economic profile of the borrower होगी वो RE obtain करेगा. RE will ensure that there are no automatic increase in the credit limit unless an explicit request has been received, right? Sometimes what happens is credit limit is by default increased. These kind of practices should not be followed unless and until you get a request from the customer itself. You won't be increasing their credit limit, okay? You won't be increasing directly their credit limit. Loan disbursement, disbursal rules. So there are disbursal rules like only to the borrower's bank account. You should be giving the loan only to the directly borrower's account and not to the LSP account, right? It should not be via LSP account. Directly RE से कहाँ जाना चाहिए? Borrower को चला जाना चाहिए, okay? There will be a cooling off period as well, minimum 1 day exit window without penalty, right? Borrower can prepay the post cooling off period as well as per the RBI norms here, okay? No third party control should be there. Directly the loan should be remitted to borrower account, okay? Grievance redressal, definitely RE and LSP must appoint a nodal officer in case any query is there from the customer. They need to resolve it in 30 days, right? If not, then definitely escalation can happen via ombudsman, right? Then data collection and rules. So consent based collection will be there. You need to take the consent of the user before using their data, before collecting their data, right? Borrower can definitely revoke and or deny to such a kind of consent. Let's suppose I'm not using the platform, so I can now deny that I don't want my data to be collected from now onwards, and please delete my data. So these are the general things in this particular thing, right? The data needs to be stored only in India. You won't be storing the data in any kind of foreign country here, right? Do store the data in India only, okay? So it's restricted to India only. And if you have shared or processed any kind of data, bring it back immediately within 24 hours. No biometric data can be stored here, okay? So these are basically the general points. and you need to report to all the credit information companies as well. We have also studied about CICs, credit information companies as well. You need to report them, right? Default loss guarantee. Okay, so default loss guarantee, a board approved policy is required here. Evaluate the provider's ability. Let's suppose a LSP is giving you a guarantee that in case of any default via customer, they will be paying you the money. So evaluate the ability of this LSP who is promising you the guarantee, right? And DLGs are not at all allowed on the credit cards or revolving facilities like credit card here, right? There is a cap as well on the DLG, maximum 5% of the disbursed amount in a fixed loan set. Let's suppose 100 crore loan is there, so 5% of that means 5 crore. So the DLG cannot exceed 5 crore here. Okay, definitely NPA classification will be there. DLG won't be preventing the NPA classification here. Okay, and these are some of the restrictions. NBFC P2P lending platforms, loans under the existing government credit guarantee schemes, on these two things DLG won't be applicable. Okay, tenure, DLG must remain in force until the longest tenure of the loan, and it must be invoked within 120 days of the default. Let's suppose default यहाँ पे हो गया, so within 120 days you need to invoke the DLG. आपको LSP को communicate करना पड़ेगा that default has been occurred, please invoke the guarantee here, right? DLG here. So that's the process. Okay, now RBI has recently tightened the rules of the default loss guarantee. It's a setback for the fintech companies as well as for NBFCs. So now they will be quite skeptical about these things, right? So RBI has directed the NBFCs to exclude the default loss guarantee provided by the fintech companies when making the provisioning for the stress loan. Let's suppose if there is any kind of stress on a loan, right, it's on the verge of becoming NPA, or it has been classified into an NPA, then you need to exclude the DLG, default loss guarantee, by the fintech company. Even if it is guaranteed by a fintech company, still we won't considering that guarantee, and that's a setback for fintech companies and NBFCs here, right? Provision needs to be made in full irrespective of the guarantee. Let's suppose the loan amount is 100 rupee, DLG amount here is, let's suppose 10 rupee for example. So you need to make you need to make the provision, whatever the percentage of provision is there as per the prudential norms, you need to make provision on this 100 rupee and not on this 90 rupee. That means you will be ignoring the DLG as of now. Okay, so cutoff date, NBFCs need to comply with it by 30th September. Okay, so that will be definitely discouraging the NBFCs from relying solely on the fintech guarantees here, right? This is applicable from now onwards from 30th September. Okay. Okay guys, next, loan on the debit cards and non-EMI credit card products are governed by also these directions, and the DLGs are not at all synthetic securitization or loan participation. So I have explained this synthetic securitization and loan participation case in the detailed video. If you want it, please do watch the detailed video on this particular circular, and here are the summary pointers for your quick revision that you can definitely refer to just few days before the examination, or you can use it for your revision purpose as well, right? Next is Exim Bank has offered a GOI supported, Government of India supported line of credit of $700 million to the government of Mongolia here, right? That too for financing construction of crude oil refinery plant in Mongolia. Okay, so this money will be used in constructing the crude oil refinery plant in Mongolia. It is facilitated by Exim Bank. The government of India has supported in this LOC. Okay, LOC is nothing but line of credit here, right? So major parties here is Exim Bank, which is a all India financial institution, and government of Mongolia. The amount of LOC is USD 700 million, and the purpose is construction of a crude oil refinery plant here in the Mongolia side, right? And it's supported by the government of India. अच्छा, eligible goods and services बहुत ज़्यादा important देखो circular नहीं है, because it's a पर्टिकुलर इवेंट स्पेसिफिक थिंग, राइट. इससे पहले हमने देखा था गवर्नमेंट ऑफ एग्जिम बैंक ने आई थिंक वियतनाम को सपोर्ट किया था, राइट, वेसल्स बनाने के अंदर. ओके, इफ यू गाइज रिमेंबर. सो एक्सपोर्ट रिलेटेड प्रोविजंस रिलेटेड टू एलओसी एलिजिबल गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज क्या होने वाले हैं? ओनली एक्सपोर्ट्स eligible under the foreign trade policy. So only the exports that are eligible in the foreign trade policy of India will be allowed here in the eligible goods and services as per this agreement, right? And these goods and services must be agreed financed under this LOC. तो कोई भी goods and services का requirement रहता है तो definitely they can consider it. But the only thing is exports that are allowed under the free foreign trade policy here in India वही अलाउड होंगे. जो उसके अंदर ही अलाउड नहीं है वो कैसे एक्सपोर्ट कर देंगे? सीधी सी बात है. डिसबर्समेंट टाइमलाइन. सो फंड्स अंडर दिस एलओसी मस्ट बी डिसबर्स्ड विद इन 48 months फ्रॉम द scheduled completion of the date of contract here. So I already told you this particular thing is a event specific or a country specific thing. You can just have a quick look at the important pointers, not so important here. Okay, this particular thing. And agency commission restriction, there won't be any kind of commission payable under this kind of LOC. Okay, so no commission will be paid under this kind of thing. And I have also explained the terminologies that I have explained multiple times in the video, like what is LOC, what is AD category 1 bank. There is a concept of EEFC account here as well, exchange earners foreign currency account. So usually exporters are earning foreign currencies, right? So they can retain a part of their earning. Let's suppose I am an exporter, I am earning dollars. I can retain that dollar amount, right, in the foreign currency itself. Now I need some kind of account to hold that. So that's exchange earners foreign currency account, right? Because I need to make certain payments in dollars. That's why I want to retain the money in dollar itself. So I can do it via exchange earners foreign currency. And AD category 1 banks are nothing but authorized by the RBI to deal in the foreign exchange, right? And here are the summary pointers as well of this particular circular. Next is alteration in the name of the Northeast Small Finance Bank Limited to Slice Small Finance Bank. So this is nothing but a alteration in a name, right? So they have altered their name. So it's added the altered name has been added in the schedule second schedule of the RBI bank here, right? Next is earlier we used I think we have discussed this particular circular in April month, right? April month में बहुत सारे circulars थे, ये वाला circular भी था. This particular circular we have discussed in the April month. Withdrawal of master circular on Deen Dayal Atyodaya Yojana, okay? Urban National Urban Livelihood Mission. So this is DAY NULM scheme that we discussed in April, okay? So this was a big circular that we discussed in April. A lot of circulars were there in April month. This one also we have discussed, and as of now they have withdraw it. They have withdrew this particular circular as of now, okay? So ये निकाल दिया गया है, अभी withdraw कर दिया गया है. So that's a notification. So don't read it as of now. It's not required अभी के लिए, जब तक इसकी updated guidelines नहीं आती. Next is reporting on the firms portal. So FIRMS firms portal, issuance of partly paid units by investment vehicles. So this is another circular that any kind of issuance of partly paid up units by the investment vehicle, that will be reported on firms portal. Okay, you need to report it via firms portal. Let me just give you a quick background of this particular circular. The Foreign Exchange Management Act as amended by the March 2024 now allow that the investment vehicles, it can be AIF, it can be real estate investment trust, it can be infrastructure investment trust as well, to issue partly paid up units. What are partly paid up units? Let's suppose an investment vehicle has issued a share or unit, the face value of which is 10 rupee, and they have as of now asked for only 6 rupee. Okay, so the investor has only paid 6 rupee, but the face value of the unit is 10 rupees. So can I say that this is a partly paid up unit as of now? This is a partly paid up unit as of now. Obviously 4 rupees yet to be paid. So this is a partly paid up unit. Okay. So if a investment vehicle has issued a partly paid up unit, to person resident outside India, to a person resident outside India, then obviously this particular circular will apply, and they need to report it on the firm's platform. Okay, so just let's have a quick reading. The new reporting requirement has been introduced. Form INVI. Okay, if an investment vehicle issues units to a non-resident, then definitely they need to file Form INVI within 30 days of such issuance. Let's suppose an investment vehicle has issued partly paid up units to a non-resident. They need to report this thing in this form INVI within 30 days of the issuance. So you need to remember this particular time limit. One special time relaxation has also been given. Reporting is allowed. So for partly paid up investments that has been issued before 23rd May, before this circular came into picture, reporting is allowed within 180 days. Okay, 180 दिन के अंदर reporting allowed थी. However, अब on or after 23rd May, the standard timeline here is 30 days, and that too you need to report this thing in form INVI. Okay. So firms portal, ये सारी reporting कहाँ होगी? You need to report all these things on the firms portal. It's a RBI platform where reporting of non-debt instruments are done here, right? So form INVI will be submitted via firms portal. You need to remember the name and the purpose of this portal. That's important. Okay. Here are the summary pointers for you guys for this particular thing. Next is inclusion of this particular bank in second schedule of the RBI. So they have just included this particular bank in the second schedule, right, of the Reserve Bank of India. And what are the benefits of being in the second schedule of RBI? Definitely eligibility to borrow from RBI, membership of the clearing house, higher reputation and trust, and compliance requirements. You need to also follow a lot of compliance requirement as well. So this will be a second scheduled bank as of now, because they have included in the list of second schedule as of now. So guys, ये सारे मे के सर्कुलर थे, बहुत ही कम सर्कुलर्स आए थे, इसलिए हमने फटाफट से इसको हार्डली 30-40 मिनट्स के अंदर पूरा रिवाइज कर लिया है यहाँ पे, राइट? If I can give you a quick recap here, so definitely first thing is policy statement framework, formulation of regulations, right? I can just move to the summary pointers. So you need to at least give 21 days to all the stakeholders to submit their feedback. Definitely there is a exemption list as well, right? There is a exemption list as well if the particular regulation is related to internal administration, right? Organizational related to specific rule, या फिर किसी particular entity पे ही लग रहा है, so we can exclude that thing. और अगर public interest में है, urgency के अंदर है, confidentiality is required, then definitely we can avoid this particular draft, right? That draft process. Then we talked about foreign portfolio investors. तो वहाँ पे कुछ limits थी शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट में और concentration limits के अंदर, वो अब नहीं रही है. Do let me know in the comment section कितनी लिमिट थी, what was the percentage, क्या concentration की लिमिट थी, right? Concentration limit कितनी थी और शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए लिमिट कितनी थी? Do let me know in the comment section as well. Then we discussed about the digital lending guidelines. We had a discussion on what is LSP, what is borrower, what is RE, right? Let me just quickly move to the summary pointers here. So a DLG cap is there, 5% का cap है, right? No LS3 pass-through account, you need to directly disburse it directly into the borrower's account here, right? You need to check whether the LSP is kind of capable to deliver the DLG as well, right? So ये सारी चीजें हमने उसके अंदर पढ़ी थी. अच्छा, कंसेंट चाहिए होगा अगर आप डेटा ले रहे हो तो DLG मस्ट बी रिपोर्टेड ऑन द CIMS प्लेटफॉर्म. DLG अलाउड नहीं है किस पे? क्रेडिट कार्ड्स पे, गवर्नमेंट गारंटीड लोन्स पे. ये सारी चीजें हमने इसके अंदर पढ़ी थी, राइट? देन वी डिस्कस्ड अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर एग्जिम बैंक हैज सपोर्टेड वाया गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट ऑफ 700 million टू द मंगोलियन गवर्नमेंट फॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ क्रूड ऑयल रिफाइनरी हियर, राइट? This was just a name change, so I'm ignoring it, right? And a circular has been withdrawn definitely here. And if you are an investment vehicle, if you are issuing partly paid up units, right, to a non-resident, definitely you can do it. You need to do it via firm's portal, and please do remember the name of the form as well. The form name is INVI, and you need to report it now within 30 days after 23rd May. Earlier the time limit was 180 days, now it is 30 days, right? So here are the summary pointers as well, and this particular bank is now included in the second schedule of the Reserve Bank of India. So thank you so much for watching this video. बहुत ही कम सर्कुलर्स थे मई मंथ के अंदर, इसलिए मैंने फटाफट से इस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो के अंदर ही कवर कर लिए. और अगर आप लोगों को स्पीड फास्ट लगी हो तो डेफिनेटली आपकी भी स्पीड फास्ट होनी चाहिए, राइट. दीज आर ऑल द फैक्चुअल थिंग्स. यहाँ पे आपको डेटा ज्यादा रिमेंबर करना है, समझने की जो चीजें होती है दैट वी डेफिनेटली कवर इन द डिटेल वीडियो. लेट सपोज इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द डिजिटल लेंडिंग गाइडलाइंस, तो उसके ऊपर आपको पूरा वीडियो मिल जाएगा डिटेल्ड. वहां मैंने एक एक टर्मिनोलॉजी समझा रखी है, राइट. अब मैं अगर यहाँ पे भी वही चीज करने लग जाऊंगा तो इट विल बी रिपीटेशन फॉर यू गाइज एज वेल. सो जिनको भी डिजिटल लेंडिंग वाला गाइडलाइन देखना है, डेफिनेटली वो डिटेल में उस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो से कवर कर सकते हो. वहां मैंने बहुत सारे MCQs भी करवाए हैं दैट आर वेरी यूजफुल फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशन पर्पस एज वेल. ओके, सो इसी तरह से आपको फटाफट से सर्कुलर्स को पढ़ना है. यहाँ पे मैं 2-2 घंटे, एक 3-3, 4-4 वीडियोस भी बना सकता हूँ, बट दैट वोंट बी रेलेवेंट, क्योंकि हमको फटाफट से ये सारे सर्कुलर्स कवर करने. देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट नीड टू बी कवर्ड, राइट. So let me know in the comment section if you face any difficulty, and definitely if you do have any kind of suggestion. अगर आपको कोई टॉपिक पढ़ना है, किसी पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक पे आप चाहते हो कि मैं वीडियो बनाऊं, वो भी आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बता सकते हो. थैंक यू सो मच. आई होप यू लाइक द वीडियो. इफ यू लाइक माई कॉन्टेंट देन डू सब्सक्राइब टू अवर चैनल, डू हिट द लाइक बटन. थैंक यू सो मच. मिलते हैं किसी और वीडियो के अंदर. बाय बाय, टेक केयर.